1978-79 was a very critical period in the history of Jamaica. Turmoil, shootings, criminal activities, people living under tension, people afraid to walk on the street. One Grace Kennedy employee got shot. Not long afterwards, another Grace employee got shot. And the Grace staff was in a state of mind that we have to do something. We can't just go along with this thing happening every day like this.
Hi, my name is Daniel Jarrett, and I am currently a project officer at Grace and Staff Community Development Foundation, the outreach arm of Grace Kennedy. In 1979, there was great tension in downtown Kingston, which claimed the lives of many innocent people. Downtown communities were also categorized by poor living conditions, and residents had little to no access to proper housing and education. The Grace Kennedy family grew increasingly concerned by the plight of communities surrounding their headquarters in downtown Kingston. And so Grace and Staff Community Development Foundation was established. This foundation was established as a partnership between the management and staff of the company to offer much needed support for these communities. For over 40 years, the foundation has embodied Grace Kennedy's mantra, "We care." This is the Grace and Staff story.
It's not a change that took place and could be identified that the big change has happened.
Yes.
It's a continuous change. A change that had to begin with an intervention into the community, going in to meet the people, going in to find ways of probably creating employment, going into probably assisting children to go to school, going into even getting adults to begin to have learning that they were not exposed to before. And therefore, I started to teach Jamal in Central Kingston.
Every time I talk about Grace and Staff, I have to mention the day, 2006, when I went to Summer Peace Building Institute in Washington, D.C. It's Mennonite University, when I did that peace building course. Miss Madden was the person that encouraged me, helped me to make that trip, and it was the best trip of my life ever, where I went to represent my community, represent Grace and Staff, Grace Kennedy as well, and I came back with my certificate. It's Peace, Trauma, Leadership, and Peace Building, and that has helped me very much, especially the peace building part.
My excitement and my memory that will never be forgotten is when I actually met Mr. Max Solomon and Miss Frances Madden, who wanted to be a part of the Homework Center. And then the one that comes out more to me is when I actually met the CEO, Mr. Don Webby himself. And then he too sent a request for George to be present at the conference center. She wanted to give me a 5-minute, and I was to be beamed all over the world. I was like shocked, and I was saying, me? Don Webby, sure? I said, Miss Madden, you're sure it's me? And she said, yes, Joan, you have 5 minutes. And I spoke, and I elaborated on our homework center, and at the end I got a standing ovation, and it brought tears to my eyes. I will never forget that. Never.
Volunteerism and community development both play an integral part of Grace and Staff's mandate.
Grace and Staff sees community development in many ways, and so our contribution is varied. Because education is something that we value so much, we wanted to ensure that we stretched ourselves a little bit more than just education support. And so the homework centers that are in these communities are part of our community development focus. So not just those who are on education support will benefit from accessing these spaces, but any child in a community can go to the homework center and access resources. There's a lot of partnership that takes place with schools and community groups such as the CDCs and so on, the other police youth clubs, as well as churches, to ensure that whatever it is that they're doing that leads to wholesome development of the community, then Grace and Staff wants to be a part of that.
I remember watching the news one night, and the news anchor the night said, in 14 days, 14 people were either killed or shot and injured in Parade Gardens in Southside. And I remember people, you would see people that you know today, and you would hear that they were dead tomorrow. And you couldn't really talk about this in your community. As a matter of fact, you couldn't even, meet with your friends in groups in your community, because, groups were targets for shootings just for being. And the homework center became the place where you could go to talk about these issues. And I mean, really talk about the things that you could talk about, your feelings, your emotions, things that were bothering you that you couldn't really express in your community. And that became, I know definitely for me and in conversations with others, that became coping mechanisms for a lot of us.
Contributions are made to Grace and Staff by GK team members. This much needed funding helps the foundation to transform the lives of thousands of Jamaicans who are in need each year.
When I was in grade 11, that was my final year at high school, I got pregnant. And I mean, I was like completely shut down. So I was shut down to the world. Mr. Mika tried to contact him several times and I was just not responding. And I remember it was 2018, I did CSEC and I got 7 subjects. And I was like, oh, is it that? Because my teachers at school that I attended, which is Tivoli, they wanted me to go straight to college, but I didn't have the financial support that I needed. So I contacted Mr. Nika and I told her that I want to go to, I want to do something, but I am not sure. And she said, Jalisha, come and see me at my office. And I went and she asked me, this is what I really want. And I told her, this is what I really wanted. And she sit and she looked through my CXC results and we spoke. And from there, she was like, okay, I'm going to see how best I can assist you. And then I was able to get financial support to go to college, that is to pay my tuition. So at that point in time, I wasn't, I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but I just know that I wanted to do something. And she was able to guide me in the right path.
It meant support, not just financially, but it meant support from your peers. It meant people that you could talk to about anything. It meant making lifelong connections. It meant guidance for in things like school. It meant and now I think the word I would use now is indispensable. I think, definitely indispensable. It has touched so many aspects of my life that I can easily say without any fear of contradiction that without Grace and Staff, I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
This year, as Grace Kennedy celebrates its 100th anniversary, we recognize the pivotal role of Grace and staff in our company's history and its positive impact on our nation. Thank you, Grace Kennedy family, for empowering Grace and staff to serve and become a beacon of hope for communities across Jamaica.
We're in this together, let us all unite. Together we fight, let's just live, not die. So when you feel like giving up,